memorabilia is phenomenal.
Oh, I've had some cool guests in here. I've got some cool signatures on the walls from some UFC fighters.
Amazing.
One of my mates is a cut man for the UFC.
Oh, fuck,
so that's
wild.
like the actual UFC
Actual
tape.
Whose rap is that?
Whose
rap?
That's so my mate that does hand wrapping for the UFC.
Yeah.
Came and we did a podcast and he wrapped my hand.
Oh, he wrapped your hand.
He
Okay.
wrapped it how they would wrap it on that was 2 years ago.
No shit.
And it stayed.
It's wild. Yeah. I just was curious as to whether like that's actually off someone's hand, but that doesn't really make sense. They wouldn't get it off their hand like that. They'd probably unwind it and everything.
No, they cut them.
They do? Oh, they cut them off and just slip it off?
You can buy hand wraps from fighters.
Oh, okay.
You can buy them on the UFC memorabilia page.
Yeah, mad.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we are on right now. This is a
Awesome.
cool one. This is a different guest. I've never had a professional wrestler on before.
No.
Ilia.
Ilia. That's me.
Now going as Ilia Prophetis.
Just Ilia.
Just Ilia.
The Ilia Prophetis is an extension, and the nickname, the moniker is the Prophet.
Yeah.
But my name is Ilia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what is it? So obviously now that it seems as though the Parea is done for now, your tag team.
Yeah.
How is it? Does it feel refreshing to kind of go into it solo now?
Definitely refreshing, because for my entire career, I've been part of that tag team. I only ever had maybe 5 matches before I was tagging as part of the Parea. And that just became my identity, my brand, my wrestling style, and my development happened all within that tag team. So it's definitely refreshing in the sense that I get to showcase a lot of the tools that I have in the toolbox that I haven't necessarily had an opportunity to show the world, because I've been within the confines of a tag team, whether that be in the ring or creating my form of expression through media content and promo material, and just how I choose to carry myself and speak. And then obviously there's a sense of having the spotlight on your own too. We'd all be liars if we said we didn't want the entire spotlight to ourselves.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that we can't collaborate with others and work as part of a team and share the platform, because that's what we're doing when we're wrestling, irrespective of if you're in a tag team or not. You're sharing a platform with somebody else, and the show is the number one priority over your needs as an individual. But when it is your time to shine and you get to stand in that spotlight solo, it is an awesome feeling. And I've only had one opportunity to be able to do that so far, which was 2 weeks ago in Melbourne. I was in the main event against Caveman Ugg for the MCW World Heavyweight Championship, and I was still Eli Thesius at that time. That was essentially my opportunity to lay Eli Thesius to rest and go one more time and show that Eli Thesius had what it took to compete at a high level. But now it's all about Ilia, and I'm excited to explore this next chapter.
You're fucking really good at... It's funny because, like, you can talk... I have, like, the vocabulary of a caveman. Like, every second word's fucking stuff. But where it actually was really impressive. I think yesterday you posted a little reel up.
I did.
And you just fucking fully switched on.
Yeah.
Like, straight... Like, it started off as though you were just talking and then you switched straight into character.
Yeah.
And it's like, how the fuck do you remember all that? It's so impressive. Like...
Yeah.
Or is that just... Do you have, like, that written down? This is, like, a bit of a trick of the trade. I don't know if you want to share it.
No, absolutely.
But do you have this memorized, or are you just fucking freestyling it?
It's definitely a process for sure, and it depends on the material and the subject matter. I like to write all my own dialogue.
Yeah.
But I'm also open to other people's ideas and other people's dialogue, because that's just the nature of the game that I'm in. But in that particular instance, I was very deliberate in the point I was trying to get across, and I needed to be very articulate in what I was saying to make my feelings known, you know, because I did feel exactly how I articulated myself in that wrestling promo. Everything I was saying was real. It was true. It came from a real place. I did feel that I was written off after I just quietly left America and went to Greece, people just assumed that I was like running away or something, or I was like done with wrestling. And then when I made a post saying that I did this deliberately, I kind of got inspired by Seth Rollins dropping the crutches at SummerSlam earlier this year. He had made the world believe that he'd injured his knee again.
That's such a good work, eh?
Incredible. And like, it was his second time holding the Money in the Bank briefcase.
He did it in public as well, by the way.
Exactly.
So for people, I'll just briefly touch on this, because a lot of my fans might not follow wrestling.
Yeah.
There's this wrestler, Seth Rollins, and he allegedly had like a torn ACL or something was wrong with his knee. But apparently it actually happened because he was turning up to like events for ages. Like every time he was seen in public, he was just in character. Mm-hmm. And then, he was. Yeah. It's just it's crazy the length some people will go to for the bit.
These are the lengths we need to go to in the business now, because the business is so exposed and everybody thinks they know everything.
Yeah.
And that was what I touched on yesterday. We live in a world now where everyone thinks they have all the answers. Even outside of pro wrestling in general, everyone just thinks they have all the answers. And we need to stop assuming things so quickly. And that was a little social experiment of mine. I never said anything about retiring. I just said that like it's been an honor to share this character and this personality that is Ilia Thesius with all of you for the past 9 years. And I look forward to the next chapter of my life. And the amount of messages I got and the amount of that's probably the most traction I've ever gotten on an individual post of mine that I just shared myself. The most traction I've ever gotten was essentially my downfall as a wrestler. Yeah. So I was like, okay, well, if that's how you'll feel, whether you're it's good, bad, or indifferent, you all still feel a certain way about it. So I was like, well, now I'm going to pull the rug out from under you and I'm going to introduce a whole different side to me, a whole different side to my personality that I felt I haven't been able to be ever since in the decade that I've been in the pro wrestling business. So that was the crux of introducing Ilia to the world. And back to your original question, as far as, I guess memorizing dialogue or articulating yourself in front of a camera, it depends on what the point is you're trying to get across. I've done many a promo where I'm just riffing and I'm just doing what I feel. But then sometimes when you need to get serious and you have exact bullet points you want to say and you want to sequence things in a particular order, then you got to do your due diligence to memorize what it is you're trying to say and remember what emphasis you want to put on what words so that you really get your point across. And then you just got to go in there and execute. And the beauty of filming in a capacity like that is I can do multiple takes if I need to. I can try different things, but that one that we filmed that just stuck. It was weird. Like the wind kind of died down. The sun sort of drifted behind the clouds a little bit and there was no people around, and it's quite a public area where we were filming. Everyone disappeared and I just hit it.
Nailed it.
Yeah. And I just said what I needed to say and I put it out there and it's gotten a pretty decent response for the following that I do have. And that's a part of the creative process that I enjoy the most is talking. And I just feel that I have a natural gift for communicating outside of wrestling and everything too. I'm just always been a good communicator. And now that I'm able to communicate the ideas that I want to, or communicate the things that I feel passionate about, I'm all for it.
Yeah, because the talking aspect of wrestling is so important.
It is.
When because like I said off camera, I used to watch wrestling with my brother. My brother still watches wrestling when I was younger. Mm-hmm. And like what separates a really fucking good wrestler from like, obviously you get your guys that are just genetic specimens and they're freak athletes, but then you get someone like Stone Cold or The Rock who talks even better than they can wrestle.
100%.
And it just makes the character so much better, or like it invokes emotion.
Well, that's the thing. Without a connection with the audience, you have nothing. Nothing that you do means anything without a connection with the audience. And it's fascinating because this whole room is it's filled with UFC memorabilia. And I would argue that even the UFC has gotten to that point where
you need a shit talk.
You
need
just
to build a rapport with the audience.
You need to, exactly, it doesn't necessarily have to be that you're this brash, cocky Conor McGregor style character. It just means that the audience have to love you, and they can love you for your fighting as well. It doesn't just have to be for your talking, but you've got to connect with them. Volkanovski is a great example.
Yeah,
he doesn't talk shit, but people just love him. I don't think you could find a single person that doesn't love Volk.
Yeah, it's very true. He's the ultimate babyface.
He's the ultimate babyface, and he's had the come from behind story, overcome the adversity. Adversity's a privilege, like he famously said when he won the title back, and that is what the audience connect with when they look at Volkanovski. But in the same light, you've got like the fighting nerds who have a gimmick. Yeah, you know what I mean? They're like a faction, and they have their style of trash talk, and they have their style of presenting themselves, but people are invested. People want to buy their merch. People want to see them fight. And whether they win or lose, they're going to be prioritized because the people are tuning in to see them.
Yeah, they're brandable.
Exactly.
And they've had a rough couple weeks.
They have, yeah. I feel like Carlos is their only hope now,
Carlos
Prates, yeah.
Yeah, he's...
Yeah, although he did lose to Ian Gary before the Jeff Neal fight.
I don't know how that happens. Like, it's
wild.
It's fucking so unfortunate because Ruffy's like my favourite fighter.
Yeah, dude.
And just seeing him get like just fucking manhandled, I was like, oh no.
Well, it just shows that, like, how they say there's levels,
there is.
And like the thing is, those guys will bounce back. They're all animals, and they probably needed that. And it's like, I think Islam might have said it first. I think he tweeted it maybe, and then Diego said it as well yesterday. Like, talk less, train more.
Yeah, because I think, and Gene Silver even admits, he's like, I fought way too emotional.
Yeah.
Which he will never do again.
No, absolutely.
Because he obviously, some people you do need to go in with a little bit of emotion.
Yeah.
But it's even probably like, even when you're wrestling, you can't go in, you still have a task.
Yeah, you need to compose yourself. Yeah. You really do.
Because I'm sure when you're out there and fucking there's bodies flying everywhere. Yep. Like when I went to, what did you say? What was the event that I went to?
World Series Wrestling.
World Series Wrestling. That was the first.
Legacy tour.
That's the second wrestling event I've ever been to, and the first one I was front row center when Eddie Guerrero came to Adelaide.
Incredible. Do you know how envious I am that you get to see Eddie Guerrero live?
Straight, and he pointed at my sign, like, because we were front row and center, and I got like his memorial shirt behind you.
You do?
Yeah, on that mannequin.
Yeah, rest in peace. Greatest of all time.
But that was the so that event that I went to that you were performing at was the second one I've ever been to, and I was like, fuck, you forget how athletic it is.
Yeah,
like
100%.
even if you're not into wrestling's one of those things. I don't think I could sit down and watch it on TV for a full 6 hours now.
Yep.
But going to an event is so different.
It's electric.
It's so good. And it doesn't matter if it's like a sold out entertainment center or an indie show. Or if it's a little indie show. Yep. The indie shows are like fucking rough.
They're fire. They can be really awesome. They can be intimate. And the cool thing about indie wrestling is you can essentially do it anywhere where you can fit a ring.
Yeah.
I've performed in some wild places. You know what I mean? I've gone from... I've wrestled in arenas, for AEW. I've wrestled in, breweries. I've wrestled in community centers in front of 10 people. I've wrestled in car parks, and just as long as you can connect with at least one person that's there, you got something.
One of the Rucka Rucka boys is doing a barbed wire match at some really brutal promotion.
Yep. They love that shit, those boys.
I was watching the promo for it, and I was like, fuck, that looks like, it doesn't look fun at all.
Yeah, I'm assuming it's Michael. Michael's out of his mind.
I believe it was Michael.
Yeah. We did a video with them, oh God, getting on, it's probably about 8 or 9 years ago now, and just their process of like, creating what they're going to do is just incredible to see.
They're very creative dudes,
and
man.
They had us in there because we were wrestlers, and a mate of ours that we used to wrestle with, who's heavily involved in production now. He produces for World Series Wrestling and all that sort of thing. At that time, he was doing a lot of stuff with the Rucka Boys. So he invited us along, and we were just filming in a hotel room. And it was that video where they were promoting that Ice Cube and Charlie Day movie. I can't remember the name of it, but
Den of Thieves? No, that's 50 Cent.
Yeah, but they just had us come to a hotel room, and essentially like the premise of the film was of the video was that we were we just started brawling. Like we were the neighbors coming to tell them to shut the fuck up, like next door, and then they jumped us, and then the fight spills out into the hallway.
Yeah.
And then Kwame, who's this he's pretty well known in the Adelaide bodybuilding scene. He's this big jacked bodybuilder guy. He comes out the elevator.
African dude.
The African dude, yeah.
Oh,
he's a legend.
Fucking
he's a monster.
But I saw him I swear it was at a Future Music Festival,
Probably.
like 15 years ago.
He was that big then,
bro. He was. But that was the first time I've seen someone that big in person, and I was like, I didn't know that was real.
Yeah, it's insane.
Like, it looks fake.
Yeah, he's like
his legs are the size of my torso.
I know, he's an anomaly for sure. But yeah, he comes in and starts beating the fuck out of us. And they had this. She used to be a wrestler, and she's a stunty now, Daisy. She was in there like throwing drop kicks in the hallway, and then then they edited it so that it spilled out into the interview being conducted by Ice Cube and Charlie Day. And
I can actually find the video and put it up there.
Yeah, do it. It's
so everyone
incredible.
Can see it. It's Raka Raka.
Just put like Raka Raka Ice Cube, and it should come up. It's like a very long time ago.
Raka Raka Ice Cube. Here we go. Starting a fight with Ice Cube.
Yeah.
There you go. I can actually put it up so everyone can see it.
How many views has it got?
It's got.
Oh, this is just like
131.
This is someone else has uploaded it, maybe.
All right.
But this is the video.
Yo, what's up, everyone? We're here in LA with my boy Dane. What's up? We're here to watch Fist Fight, which stars Ice Cube and Charlie Day. We're actually interviewing the actors, so we get to interview. I am interviewing the actors. Wait. So there's only one person that's allowed to interview Ice Cube. You're filming, so you can't be in it. No, because they've got cameras set up already. Dane, you're not important. Why would you get to interview anyone?
It's crazy that they're fucking filming like Oscar-nominated movies.
Do you know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter where you come from, man.
It doesn't
matter how you start.
Your feet stink. There's a strict no saggy boob policy with Ice Cube.
It just descends into chaos, and this is us coming in.
Can you just keep it down? Like, we're right next door.
Yeah, I know. I'm so sorry, bro.
Sorry's not going to cut it.
Sorry's not going to cut it.
Are they actually good at the wrestling side of it? They look like a proper bell thing.
So when we went down the lifts into another floor. So then we have to just run out there in the foyer. And then he comes out, and they filmed this prior in LA.
Oh, right.
That's so
It's
good.
wild, yeah. I think
That's
this was
fantastic.
just, this was still when they were like, I wouldn't put it past them to fucking make a movie with Ice Cube now, but in this time they were there doing media. So
I used to watch them when they used to do Ronald McDonald videos, bro.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah.
They were they're like pioneers of YouTube.
They
really are.
They were the first dudes to really hammer like CGI and visual effects on YouTube. Like
exactly.
their videos were so highly like well fucking produced. I don't know how they used to do it.
They would probably have to be in like some of the very early like, I don't even know what they call it. Is it platinum or whatever, like diamond subscriptions or whatever?
They are like YouTube alumni.
They are.
I'm a YouTube rat. Like I love YouTube.
Yeah,
I've
same.
always loved YouTube ever since I was a kid. Like
For sure. Me too.
I never have television on in my house. It's always YouTube.
Yeah, I'm more or less the same. I'd probably say I use more YouTube more than any other app.
100%.
Outside maybe Spotify, because I listen to a lot of music.
YouTube's the only one where I will go on I'll doom scroll it.
Yeah.
Like I can lose fucking 12 hours of a day on it.
Of course. But YouTube is one of those places where I think by and large you're probably going to have more informative stuff on there than like a TikTok, for example.
Yeah.
So it's not as bad, as detrimental, I don't think, if you end up getting caught on YouTube for a few hours compared to like a TikTok or an Instagram.
I had on this ex-UFC champion, I had Josh Barnett on, and he has a promotion Bloodsport as well.
I'd love to do Bloodsport.
Dude, I've had him on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We just, so when I was in America...
That's more like shooter, but like that's...
Yeah,
it's more of a shooter
style. Absolutely, yeah. When I was in America, I was training at the Dungeon with Natalia and Tyson Kidd. Tyson Kidd is TJ Wilson. He goes by TJ these days. He's retired now from the ring, but he's a producer at WWE, and Natty's still an on-screen talent on Raw. But the business is kind of evolving in the sense that they are more open to... WWE were never like this, but nowadays they are more open to their talent going out and doing other things and doing other shows, even in pro wrestling.
Really?
So yeah. So Natty has done a number of these blood sport events now, and she's absolutely killing it. So and Karrion Kross did one during WrestleMania week, and like they're doing a lot more crossover stuff now. Like you never know, an indie guy, a WWE guy might show up at an indie show, and you just won't expect it, and they're under contract, currently appearing on TV. You know, so the business is broadening its horizons now. Like it's not just you're fixed to an organization. You're under contract there, but you can now go out and branch out and do other things, which I think is healthy for the industry, to be honest with you, because it helps to elevate these smaller entities.
Yeah, and they're also getting more local followings. They're getting more training in.
Yeah, for sure.
More ring time.
For sure. Correct. Because the art of the live event is sort of going away now. They're not on that crazy schedule that they used to be on, where they're doing 3, 4, 5 untelevised live events a week, as well as TV.
Yeah.
Just because the business model has changed and everything's gone to streaming. So people are more inclined to watch the product through streaming, I guess, maybe, or they'll watch it after the fact because it's on demand. What is in the TV tapings are now, not just the pay-per-views, because the pay-per-views went to the WWE network and then to Peacock and then now to Netflix and everything. So they're not doing as many live events, and there is some good and bad because guys are not getting as many reps to try new things or to be in front of live audiences. But it does mean that they can... It's more viable for them to go out and do other things, I guess.
Did you happen to catch the wrestling documentary that came out on Netflix about 3 or 2 months ago?
The WWE Unreal?
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Wasn't that just put together so fucking well?
Yeah, it was incredible.
Oh, I urge... You do not have to like wrestling to fucking enjoy that doco.
No,
just
sure.
that Royal Rumble sequence.
It's fascinating.
I think there's even how it's filmed, there was a sequence that they were filming with the Royal Rumble, and just the edit was just so cool.
Yeah, for sure.
It's just... And I didn't even know... I watched wrestling for like 8 years, 10 years, and I didn't know about the gorilla position
all
or
the stuff
any
that
of
goes
that.
into it.
That's so interesting.
For sure. And the audience, a large portion of the audience have an appetite for that sort of content now.
Yeah.
And like for me personally, it's painful to watch.
Because you like it, the mystery of it.
Well, yeah, it's like everybody knows that our business has been thoroughly exposed for many years now. You could even argue decades. But it's just the level that it's gone to of exposure. At some stage, you have to draw a line. And
it's like a magician revealing all of his secrets to his tricks. You lose the magic of the trick.
There is a market for it now. People want to see it, and they want to find out. And that's fine, right? And I'm not one to make those decisions. But just personally, as someone within the business, and also just as a long-time fan, it's like, oh, I don't want everyone to know this. Like, you know what I mean?
Like late 90s to early 2000s. Like, obviously, there's a massive resurgence with, especially WWE, since Triple H is taking the reins.
Yeah.
Like, it's gone bunter again.
Yeah, they've had another boom period for sure.
There will never be anything like the Attitude Era, to me, anyway.
For sure.
It was just fucking so loose. There was the war with WCW.
Yeah, exactly.
It was just... It was printing money. Like, I remember on our dial-up internet, my brother would be downloading scripts because, like, everyone was leaking everyone's scripts and shit. And the WWF at the time would have to, like, fucking change their scripts the night before.
Exactly. Because they were like, what was happening to them a lot was they weren't filming every week. They weren't filming Raw live. They would film it and then they would air it later. And WCW Nitro was always live. So WCW... like, what a dirtbag move. They would go find out what has happened on the WWF show before it had aired.
It's fucking hilarious.
And they would air the results on TV. You know what I mean? That's mental.
so funny.
It really was a war.
And then
you know?
Shawn Michaels and Triple H, I remember once like stormed WCW.
Yeah, they went in the tank and shit. You know what I mean? That was mental. But like, yeah, you know, it's just it's become a very different world now, and people will probably look back on this period, this, I guess you call it like Triple H era, TKO era, the Bloodline era, you know, where like we've had some elite level storytelling that hasn't been seen in years. People will look back on that in 10, 15, 20 years and go, oh man, like that was the best period in wrestling. You know, you're always going to look back on what you've had. I tend to agree with you that Attitude Era period, probably from just like a pure talent perspective.
I was going to say it also stems because all of our favourite wrestlers are from that era.
That's what I'm saying.
Every single
for
person.
Sure. But you talk to someone that might be a little bit... How old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
31.
You're 31, okay. So yeah, you're 2 years older than me. I'm 29. So I grew up in like the Ruthless Aggression era. Like that's what I was watching. I missed the Attitude Era, but I've watched it back, you know. So I've seen it all, but I didn't watch it in real time. But I watched the Ruthless Aggression era in real time. And you talk to someone who's maybe 10 years older than us or even 20 years older than us, and they're going to talk about, oh man, nothing. Like I'll talk to my uncles and they'll be like, oh man, remember Macho Man?
I used to love Macho.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and the Hulk Hogan era. Yeah. Like they'll talk about that era as the best era of wrestling, you know? So I'm actually curious to get your thoughts on what you think the best era of the UFC is.
The best era of the UFC, undeniably, take away talent, just pure storyline and excitement wise, was Conor McGregor's come up.
Okay, I'm glad that you say that.
And like it makes you sound like it. People will hear that and be like, "Oh, you're a fucking casual." No, I'm not. I've been diehard watching UFC for fucking 15 years now. Yeah. There was nothing like that rise because that was our first That was the first one to transcend the sport fully. Yeah. Like Chuck Liddell did a little bit. Tito Ortiz did a little bit. Ronda did like to an extent, but no one took the world over like Conor. The UFC would not have sold for $7.7 billion if they didn't have that fucking 3 years of prime Conor.
Correct. I think that I first sort of found out about the UFC as a concept when Brock was there because I was a WWE fan. Yeah. And again, when Brock went, what was that, 2009, 2010? Or 2008?
Yeah, that would have been like 2008, I believe.
8. So in 2008, I was like 12 years old. You know what I mean? So like I'm 12-year-old at that time is probably not going to be watching MMA. Maybe they are. I don't know. I wouldn't have been allowed to watch it. But I followed pro wrestling at that time. So I found out about the UFC because of Brock. So that would have had some major crossover appeal then. But then like you said...
Brock would have been the first big one.
For sure.
Brock would have probably been the first, like, holy shit.
But like you said, Conor took it into the stratosphere. I started following the UFC because of Conor, right? So the first fight I ever watched live was the second Diaz fight.
Oh.
Right, so I was
That's
late.
The first fight you ever watched live?
That was the first fight I ever watched live. I had started to hear about Conor McGregor probably a year prior, and he was in the ether for sure, but I hadn't actually caught onto it yet. And my younger brother was like, dude, you've got to watch this guy, Conor McGregor. And he's like, he just won the featherweight title in 13 seconds. He just beat the greatest featherweight of all time, undefeated for 10 years. And now he's just like in this beef at 2 weight classes heavier with this guy, Nate Diaz. And it's like a pro wrestling feud. So I started following it. And then I've seen every Conor fight since. I've seen every Conor fight live since.
He played into the character a bit too hard towards the end.
100%,
it. But so Conor McGregor, if you look at him like when he was fighting like Dennis Seaver and fucking... Like all the Chad Mendes and all those fighters where he just folded them like fucking chairs. Max Holloway beat when he tore his fucking ACL.
Yeah.
But even
he wrestled him.
The interviews between like before he exploded were just, he's such a good, he's so quotable.
100%.
With everything he says, he's so quotable. He's like, there's a famous clip. It gives me fucking goosebumps even talking about it. There's this famous clip of this reporter relaying one of his quotes he said like 4 years before.
And the Vincent Van Gogh quote.
Yeah, and it's
insane.
just like...
He's so articulate and poetic, wasn't he?
He is. Yeah. And everyone just sees this coked off his head, Conor. Yeah. But... especially my fucking audience. There's you can't say that because if we got given a bag that fucking big.
Yeah, and $100 million.
And you were king dick.
Exactly.
You would do worse.
Yeah, it's always easy to point. It's always easy to point the finger.
That kind of money and fame is just as much of a curse as it is a blessing.
Exactly. And like, it's always easy to point the finger. You know what I mean?
So easy.
And yes, we need, when we're in positions of like we're on a platform that big and we're in a position,
of influence
power and a position of power. Yeah, you need to be careful with your actions.
But also, a lot of people don't ask for the fame. Like,
no,
it just comes along with the money.
Yeah.
And so, like, I wouldn't be able to handle change. I wouldn't want to change how I am. I say certain words and shit that fucking would get me cancelled in a minute.
Yeah, that's the sensitive world we're living in now. Unfortunately, you just never know what you might say that will set people off, or that they might want to weaponize against you. Unfortunately.
Yeah, and politics don't belong in entertainment.
They
or sport.
don't. That's so true. That's so true.
I saw a video.
They're in there for sure.
I was talking about it on a previous video. Like, obviously, what's happening in Palestine. We won't go into this fucking heavily, but obviously the issues over there are fucking treacherous.
Yes.
But I saw a video of like this Palestine march just berating and like storming this cycling race for no reason.
Yeah.
And it's like, fuck, those guys have trained for like thousands of hours. And yes, obviously what's happening over there is worse. But they've been training for this one fucking race. Like, just let them have the race.
Yeah, things can happen symbiotically. Like, you can still have things operate as they need to and still
be an advocate for justice.
Absolutely. And you've got to, you're better off trying to get one of those cyclists to use their platform after the fact to spread the message of your cause rather than trying to bombard their race. Yeah,
it just doesn't belong in sports or entertainment, man.
100%.
It's just, and I think it's kind of calmed down a bit, but then crazy shit happens the other day and it just flares up the race wars again.
It does.
There's the fucking UK's getting torn apart at the moment. It's just a wild world.
It is.
I'd choose to stay oblivious to anything like that.
Yeah, I can understand why, you know.
Yeah.
But it's just, you need to have a finger on the pulse of what's going on for sure. And you need to just try to, I was having this conversation with someone yesterday, like, you need to just get grounded and get some perspective and really just enjoy every day. You know what I mean? Because like you said, the world's always been a crazy place, but I guess the age that you and I are at now, we're looking around at how things are going, and it starts to make you question, you know, where we're headed.
Oh yeah.
And it sits a lot heavier with you.
I'm fucking moving further south.
Further south.
I'm moving. I'm hopefully going to buy a farm.
Fuck yeah.
And
awesome.
I just want to be fucking as far away from
I would love to live on a farm. I think that'd be awesome.
Where did you grow up in Adelaide?
I grew up in the city, man, in Mylands.
Fuck.
Grew up in Mylands. Yeah.
Not bad.
Went to Adelaide High School.
It's the most wog story of all time. Half Greek.
Half Greek, yeah. So my father's surname is McGregor Day. So
it's the widest name of all time.
It is. So yeah, McGregor.
Like Irish.
It's Scottish.
Yeah.
Yeah. So hyphen Day. You know, the McGregor name comes from the Scottish Highlands, and you know the Conor said it in the Khabib press conference famously, and it made me have like a greater pride for my name. It was when he said. My family, my bloodline, the McGregor clan, we stood and we fought. We fought the English Empire, so much so that our name was banished for 100 years by King James at the time. And I thought...
Fuck, that's a fucking really good impression.
Thanks. I've always been able to do a good Conor. But I thought, fuck, dude, that's my last name. And whether that name, like where my McGregor aspect of my last name, whether it does come all the way from that bloodline or not, I was like, that is my name, and I feel connected to it. And you know, my grandfather on my dad's side, he passed away before I was born, but he fought in the Second World War against the Japanese in Papua New Guinea and was heavily impacted for life by that, and that impacted, you know, his relationship with his kids and everything like that. And my dad carries that burden and that trauma. Not that he wasn't a loving father, but you know, the scars and the wounds of war run much deeper than what's on the surface. So I definitely feel a deep reverence for that side of my family. And then the complete opposite end of the spectrum on my mum's side, my mum's last name is Constantopoulos. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just as Greek as it gets. Her parents met in Australia, but they came from Greece, and they just have your typical migrant story, you know.
Dollar in the pocket.
Came on boats, dollar in the pocket, one shoe, just the clothes on my back, didn't speak English, didn't really know where I was going. And my grandfather, he just passed away in April, sadly. And I was fortunate enough that I was in Australia for the World Series Wrestling tour when he passed away. And I sort of feel that I was meant to be here then, and almost that he waited for me, because those were my ya's words too. She said he waited for you because he asked my ya for when he passes away for Ilia, for me to close his eyes after he's passed. So I was so eternally grateful to have that opportunity.
That's awesome that you got to do it for
I know.
him.
And Gabriel and I were sitting in the foyer in Sydney for the Sydney leg of the World Series tour, which is the last leg of the tour. And we were waiting to check into our hotel. And I said to him, do you want to stay like a little longer? Because we were due to fly home on the Tuesday, we were due to fly home on the Friday. It was a Monday, and we were due to fly home on the Friday. And I said, do you want to just stay? I'm really liking being home, and we don't actually have to be back for anything. We don't have a booking or anything for like another 2 weeks. So I said, can we just stay a little longer? Let's just extend our trip. And he was like, yeah, I think that's a great idea. Just so we get a chance to spend a bit of time with family. Because basically we flew in, we're at home for a few days, and then we went out on the road. And we're living on the other side of the world, and it's new to us. We only just moved. We'd been gone for 3 months. So we came back, and I said, can we stay a little longer? And he said, yeah, absolutely. So we rerouted our trip, and we decided to leave on the following Tuesday instead of the Friday. And then Bupple passed on that Friday.
Yeah.
So it was all divine intervention, I feel.
Yeah.
And I was just so lucky to be there and to be able to lay him to rest and be at his funeral. And then I left the funeral. After the funeral, I got on a plane to fly back to America. So it was all very quick and crazy, but I just was so lucky I was there. But the reason I bring up my papu is because his father was named Ilia, and they come from a part of Greece in Messenia where the prophet Ilia is a very prominent force in the Greek Orthodox faith. And there's mountains named Prophet Ilia, and there's churches everywhere that with Saint Prophet Ilia. And when I traveled to Greece after America, I got to go to the village that my papa was born and grew up in. And the day that I was there happened to be the Yorti, the name day of Prophetis Ilias. So I got to go to the church in the village and kinonisi and just say a prayer for my papa who'd recently just passed away, and I'm in his birthplace. And that was when I really decided that I'm going to be Ilia. This is my identity. And I have such a deep respect and reverence for what my ancestors did for me to be able to pursue what I do now as a pro wrestler living in Australia of Greek origin. And I just have this real like affinity for where I've come from, you know?
Yeah.
And that's a big thing that I want to embody moving forward. So, yeah, it's been a crazy year for sure.
How do you start? So, did you just decide you wanted to start wrestling in school?
Yeah, so...
Because I imagine it's not like a hell straightforward path to get into wrestling.
Absolutely not. So, I was aware of Riot City Wrestling from probably like the age of 10. Like, that was how long they've been around for. That's like, I was that old when those boys started, like, Riot City.
Yeah,
and
right.
they were all wrestling before that too, on the very, very underground, very unknown indie wrestling scene of Australia in the early 2000s. And so when I was in year 11, we had to do this thing in high school called research project. And it was essentially some schools did it in year 12, some schools did it in year 11 as like a preparation for year 12 because they just dumped all of this work on you. It was a big criteria where you could pick anything you wanted and you could research it. So I chose pro wrestling because I was a big fan. And part of my research was going and asking somebody that actually does the sport questions about it and adding that to my work. And there was a wrestler at the time, Tony Toro, who his real name's Anthony, and he's a great mate of mine that I kind of came up with in high school. I went to Adelaide High with his cousins. He went to Underdale, so we all sort of knew each other. And he had been training at Riot City to become a wrestler. And he was probably 6 months to a year into his training, and he was finally ready to make his debut. And I had been researching him for my research projects and talking to him about it. And then at the end of, that was year 11, and about a year later, end of year 12, he's getting ready to have his first match. And so a bunch of us boys all came together, probably like 20 wogs, right? And we just stormed at the time, the Wingfield Riot City Wrestling training gym, where they would do these small house shows called Mean Street Mayhem. And so we all stormed this show, and we're just like riled up, G'd up, ready to go. We're going to watch our mate wrestle. You know what I mean? Like, who's ever had a fucking mate that's a pro wrestler? No one,
Yeah.
So we're all there, and he comes out, man, and the fucking roof nearly blew off this place, right? And he didn't even, I don't think he knew any of us were coming. And he's just like, what the fuck? Like, all these boys are here. So he was G'd up, babyface, fucking had this blinder of a match. At the time, I remember it it probably wasn't very good because it was his first match ever, but I just remember it being a blinder.
Yeah.
And then after the fact, I thought, man, like, this is something that you can actually do in Adelaide. You know what I mean? Like, I knew it was here, but I didn't really grasp
accessible.
it. It wasn't accessible. And so I remember on my way out, I asked the girl that was working the door, I said, like, how do you get involved in this? And she said, well, we do tryouts, roughly twice a year, and then we do an intake of new students. And she said, we've just done a tryout. It's like, you've just missed one. So, like, the next one will be in about 6 months' time. And I said, all right, well, I'm going to think about this for 6 months, and I'm going to start mentally and physically preparing for it in the best way that I can. And so I basically stayed in touch with the Facebook page at the time, and I was just messaging, don't know who I was messaging, but I was messaging somebody, and they were just getting back to me being like, yeah, we're going to have tryouts on X date and you're invited to come along. And so I remember going a week beforehand, they invited all of the people who were interested in trying out to come and watch a training session, right? And so I come to this training session down at Wingfield. This is in probably March of 2015, right? So this is well over 10 years ago now. And I sat on a folding chair and I watched this. It was a rookie night, so it's like a beginner's class. And I'm sitting and I'm watching a 18-year-old Rhea Ripley. Like,
oh wow,
like fucking. I remember watching at that time. Right? Because everybody says that they all go, oh, the first time I laid eyes on her, I knew she was going to be special. That was my experience.
Yeah, right.
Fucking straight up, dude. I remember sitting there and just being like,
just aura. What
the fuck and who the fuck is that? I'd never seen anything like it before. I was like, she's stunning. Like, I can't take my eyes off her. Like, she's one of the most beautiful women I've ever seen, but she also looks like she could kill me.
Badass.
You know what I mean? So, like, and this is an 18-year-old Demi Bennett at the time, and one of the other people that was there was Agostino Pepe, who is this, at the time I knew him as this crazy wrestling fan who he went to CBC, and he was a few years younger than me, and I just knew him as this crazy wrestling kid, and he was training there, right? And I'm just going like, what is this place? This is mad. This is like a fucking circus. Like, and they've just got tall guys, small guys, experienced guys, fat guys, like all these different kind of people, and they're bumping in the ring and they're rolling. And in amongst it all, you've got this Rhea Ripley, young 18-year-old Rhea Ripley, just like executing everything better than everyone there. And I was like, okay, this is nuts. Like, I have to do this. Like, and then I had my tryout, and I remember just the tryout actually being like pretty easy. Like, it was just like a bit of cardio.
Are you naturally pretty athletic?
I am. I played football, Australian rules football. I played soccer, basketball, cricket, swimming, athletics.
Because it looks like the athleticism part of it is like a great benefit of yours.
And I'd already started, like, I'm only 18 at the time, so I'd already started working out and had made whatever gains I was able to from age of 17 to 18 or whatever. So I was already used to having like a pretty strict training regimen just from playing sport my whole life and all that sort of thing. And so I killed this tryout, and then they made us, they actually got us to get in the ring, and they chopped us, which was pretty wild. And then they got us to take like an assisted bump so we could find out what it felt like to be actually in a wrestling ring. And that makes or breaks a lot of people. A lot of people will go, yeah, I want to be a wrestler. But until they feel the impact of that wrestling ring, they don't know if they want to be a wrestler or not.
It's not as soft as people think, eh?
It isn't. There's definitely give, and it depends on the ring. You get some shit ass rings, and then you get some outstanding rings. But over time, that impacts. It's just going to do a lot of fucking damage.
Yeah.
So I did the tryout. They accepted me into the school, and I just started my journey like anyone else, man, with the forward rolls and the learning how to do a collar and elbow tie up and how to put someone in a headlock and how to take a bump on the mat, and then just the building blocks emerge from there. So, you know, I'm in a school with you know, like a young Rhea Ripley, and then 6 months later, you had an 18-year-old Guerrero come into the school, and these people started to become like my best friends, you know what I mean? Like from that age. And so we all came up together, and then it took me maybe 6 months, probably actually even less, to be ready to do a show with them. And then I had my first match at the Latvian Hall in Wayville.
Yeah, right.
And I was teaming with a guy at the time. His name was Sadakone. He's not wrestling anymore, but he was in my tryout, and we were a tag team. And we were against this newly formed tag team who were a few years more experienced than us, called the Millennials, Dean Brady and James Cray. And we had this match in the Latvian Hall, and it was like, there was a lot of people in there. I'd say there was probably about 400 people in there. And there was probably close to 50 that were my friends and family that were coming to see me.
Yeah, right. The pop would have been so cool.
Fucking huge. From the moment I walked out there and felt that energy, and then actually got in the ring and realized, oh, you don't feel the bumps when you're out here.
The adrenaline, it's after.
and how you feel in that moment, and how you feel afterwards, and the come down. I was hooked, man. And I was like, I want to do this. And I'm passionately absorbing everything that's going on around me simultaneously. You know, like the year I started, around that exact same time that I was getting started, was when we talked about Seth Rollins before. When Seth Rollins first cashed in the Money in the Bank briefcase back in 2015 at WrestleMania 31, I remember that moment as a fan and just being like, oi, this shit is wild. And like, I'm just starting my journey as a training, you know, in training. And I was just like, I have to do this shit, you know? And I was like, this is what I want to pursue. And so that was just the start of the story, and it's had a lot of twists and turns, and here I am now. So it's been crazy.
What was it? Because when you went to Miami, you were hanging out with Rhea a fair bit. Mm-hmm. What's it like? Like, what was your reaction when you first saw her? Like, even headline, like she headlined fucking WrestleMania, didn't she?
I don't think she's. Well, it depends what you mean by headline. Like she's not. They say like headlining is like the main event, and the main event is the match that goes on last.
I mean, she's
one of the top
she's one of the marquee,
for sure.
marquee of like personas of like a fucking WrestleMania.
Yeah, exactly.
Like just seeing that, is that just like, what the fuck?
It's wild. You become somewhat desensitized to it now, just because we've become used to it. Like she's done 6 now, I think. I think she's done 6 WrestleManias.
She wouldn't be able to go out into public.
Yeah, so that, you know, we've had many instances where, you know, we've been more or less mobbed by fans. I know she's had some pretty unfortunate scenarios recently. She had to vocalize it online just to, you know, just remember,
people getting too close.
Just remember that we are human beings, and you know, respect my personal space. You know what I mean? But for the most part, people are pretty good, and I've been around her a lot in the last 2 years, I would say, since she's been able to kind of have a bit more time off and come to Australia a couple times. And then obviously her and Matt, Buddy, her husband,
who's a fucking unit, by the way.
Exactly. Another one. He's just a juggernaut.
Christ.
Yeah. They were extremely influential in me and Tommy being able to move to the States. So we moved to the area in Florida. We're in Tampa, so we're in the Tampa area, and we were living 10 minutes down the road from where those guys live. So we spent a lot of time together. We lived with them for probably a month before we were able to get a lease on our apartment and everything. And so, we spent a lot of time together. And it was when you would go to, like on any given outing, someone would recognize them. particularly her.
Americans are fairly used to celebrity encounters,
They
though, aren't they?
definitely are, yeah. But wrestling fans are super fanatical, so they can be pretty full on when they see someone they love. But it was when we would go to like more heavily populated areas. Like I've been to Las Vegas with them a couple of times, and I went with them once for AEW because Matt was working, and then I went for night 2 of WrestleMania this year to watch her. And you know, and even when we go to like Orlando or just more populated areas, like it does get pretty wild. Like I'm talking like groups of like.
Does she need guards?
No, I wouldn't say she needs guards.
Once you get to that, when you get to that point of fame where you actually like physically need guards, like the iShow speeds and things like that, that's fucking chaos.
I don't know. Like I hope it doesn't get to that for her, because I know that's not what she wants.
Seems like she's at a fantastic level at the moment.
For sure. And I've even had conversations with her where she's sort of been like, you know, like, not that she doesn't want to be as successful as she can possibly be, but like the fame component of it, it's like, well, how much more do I want to welcome, you know, as far as prosperity goes, to open that floodgate even more, you know, because we'd just be at like Universal Studios or something, you know what I mean? Because we'd like to go there and hang out. They love going there. They love the rides and everything. And it's only like an hour and a half away from where we lived. So we'd go there a fair bit, and we'd have like big groups of people, like who were all together, I guess, like school groups or kids or whatever. One kid would notice her, and it's hard not to notice her because she's this larger than life figure, and she's got a lot of characteristics that are pretty unique to her.
Yeah.
So people would notice her, and I think for me, just because I've known her since she was 18, and I was 18, with the same age, I'm like 4 months older than her, but since I've known her since she was just this quiet, you know, girl from Henley, you know, in Adelaide. I know that like all that fame and everything is quite challenging. So I'd always just try to be by her side as much as possible when she would get kind of mobbed, and I'd try to make the process as smooth as possible whenever I was with her. So like I'd always take the phone, take a picture for the person, and just make sure that she's okay. You know what I mean? Because it can be kind of scary. You never know, you know? So, you know, God forbid. But yeah, there was some crazy circumstances, and it was always wild, like fully grown men, like fangirling.
Dude, my brother fucking, I got one of my best mates. His name's Goobsy. I have him on the show all the time. He actually has a page now dedicated to wrestling.
Oh, wild.
He fucking he's a very successful rapper. And
is he?
Yeah. And now he fucking loves wrestling.
Yeah.
And he'd fangirl as well. It's just certain people. Like if I saw The Undertaker or Stone Cold, it would be so hard for me as a grown man to not. Like if I see certain MMA fighter, I've been in situations. I went to Volkanovski Islam too.
Oh, fuck.
Oh no, I went to Volkanovski Islam one.
Perth
Sorry,
one.
Yeah, the Perth one.
That was a better night.
And I'm good mates with Craig Jones's brother.
Oh, are you?
Yes.
Shit.
So Craig Jones's brother lives down here.
Oh, he does?
Craig Jones is from Woodcroft.
Is he really?
Yeah, dude.
Okay.
Craig Jones is from Woodcroft.
I didn't even know that.
He's a southerner.
That's mental.
And after we're all fucking off our heads.
Hammered, yeah.
I just fucked.
Were you disappointed?
Oh, we were fucked. And then we were all fuming. And then there was just one. We were walking out. Channel 7's there. I'm blackout drunk. I'm fucking screaming. And then there's this one group of like Muslim Islam supporters. There's like 5 of them, and they were just loving it.
Sober as
They were
anything.
just loving it. They were hammering everyone.
Yeah.
And then like Craig's brother Adam, like, is like, you want to go to the after party?
Yeah.
Because Craig can get us in. And I was like, yeah.
Fuck it.
And I was walking in, and I was like, I'm just going to be normal. I'm not going to fucking like fangirl.
Yeah.
First person I see when I walk in is like fucking Israel Adesanya, and I'm like, boy.
No shit. That's hectic.
Freaking out. But I was going to ask you one thing.
Please.
So in wrestling, obviously there's this thing where people go like, you can give people receipts.
Yes.
My question to you, I want to get your take on something, but I want to ask like one of your receipt stories.
Sure.
Did you happen to catch the Rogers Jackson situation?
Yeah, I did. It's a horrible situation.
Is as much as it is his fault, mainly 100% it is his fault. How much of that lies on the promotion?
Well, I heard a few takes on the scenario, and I think my take is there should be, and there generally is, a high level of training that goes into someone's. We have to make sure that someone is ready to be able to go out there and do what we do safely. And
if they're cameoing,
not even just when you're starting out as a wrestler.
Yeah,
safety's the number one thing.
Yeah,
and some places are better at it than others. I remember when I was coming up in Riot City, safety was like the number one thing. You weren't allowed to do things that the very experienced coaches didn't feel they were comfortable with you doing. So that's just the bare minimum of what we do as pro wrestlers. So when you bring somebody else in and they don't have a background in what we do, they don't understand the just like the overall etiquette and everything of what we do, then you're setting yourself up for, something to go wrong in general. But what he did, I think he had a statement to make, and he had an agenda with what he was doing.
He premeditated. He was talking about how he was going to do it on the stream. That's what I'm saying.
So I don't think that what I said to the precursor to that is a separate point.
Yeah.
Just in general, we need to be really careful with how we conduct ourselves on a show and just in training schools and all that sort of thing. But that was a completely that was an anomaly for sure.
Yeah.
Like that seemed like something pretty serious was going on in his head at that time when he did that, and I don't fucking condone any of that shit. It was disgusting and vulgar.
It was like 22 unanswered fucking blows, man.
Fucked.
That's attempted murder.
Exactly. And it's like this guy didn't deserve that no matter what the fucking...
He said sorry to him, and
correct.
they hashed it out once it's done that.
Even if he didn't, right? Even if he didn't, you've preconceived a spot in the back that you're going to do, right? That person's putting their safety in your hands, and you take liberties like that. There's just no excusing it at all. And, I hope that some fucking peace can be found in the entire scenario, but, whatever justice that needs to be served should and probably will be served. And I just hope that the poor dude that got his fucking head punched in is okay and is gonna, have a fucking speedy recovery. You know what I mean? Because, dude, like, you follow fucking fighting and you see, like, when
that was brutal for me to watch.
When Ilia knocked out Charles, right?
That was fucked.
And the first punch was the fight was over.
Yeah.
Right? Let alone, he caught him with a fucking left hook on the way down, and then his chin hit his knee on the way down, and then the back of his head smashed into the ground, and that wasn't even the end of it. It took another 3 or 4 fucking clean punches to the face while he was already on the ground, and you see him go stiff, right? That's in a professional MMA fight where there's a referee in between you. And it's like, how quickly can the fucking ref get in to stop that fight? Yeah. So you got a guy who's, not that whether he's trained or not bears any fucking relevance to the situation, but like, this guy's a pro wrestler and he's been fucking dumped on his head and then punched multiple times unanswered. It's just horrible. So there's just no excuse for it. There's no answer to it at all.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. Do you have a particular moment when you were coming up where you received your first, like, oh fuck, I deserve that?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't want to name names because it just doesn't do anyone any good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've in training, on shows.
Can you just explain for people what I'm saying when I use the term give someone a receipt?
Okay, so like a receipt can be for any particular reason. A receipt can be because you intentionally or unintentionally stiff someone first. And what I mean by stiffed is like you might punch them or give them a move or something that like actually caused them some damage or hurt them. Generally, it comes in the way of strikes. So like it might be a punch that connected a little too hard and it might have been intentional, it might have been unintentional, but there's just this kind of culture in wrestling which I hope goes away, and I think should go away, where the person on the receiving end now is owed a receipt where they can give you one back. You know what I'm saying? And obviously there's exceptions to every rule. Like there are certain guys who I might have built up a rapport with that I've wrestled on a number of occasions, and I trust them, and I know that we can go in there and be a little bit more physical than with other people. But that comes at from building a relationship. But I remember very early in my training, I was training at a different school, and the guy that was running the training, I don't know why. I don't know if it was intentional or not or whatever. I kind of, looking back, I feel like maybe it was because of just how like kind of point blank it was. And he was demonstrating like a punch, and he just absolutely clocked me, like closed fist, hard as he could, straight on the fucking jaw, rocked me. And it was like, that's not how you execute a strike, first and foremost. Yeah. Even when you are demonstrating it, it would have looked good because it was a proper fucking punch. And I remember like my knees wobbled and my jaw hurt for a week. And I remember like just kind of feeling a bit hazy in the head, like would have had a concussion for sure. But that one was pretty shitty. I was probably only like 20 at the time. And then I've had guys in matches maybe get a bit shitty about something going awry in a spot, or maybe they're just not liking the pace that I'm working at. Or
do you work at a pretty high pace?
You can. Depends on who you're working with.
Yeah.
Sometimes like if you're not on the same page physically or like mentally, you maybe things aren't going at the rate they need to, or maybe the audience aren't responding in the way that you need them to. And a guy might, get a bit, he might feel that he needs to assert himself as, I don't know, the dominant force in the match, or maybe as the more experienced person in the match. And sometimes their way of doing that is by waking you up a little bit, I've actually been in scenarios where I feel that I need to wake up a little bit, and I've asked people to just put me in a corner and give me a couple of chops, because it's almost like a fucking defibrillator.
Yeah. Just feeling flat.
Yeah.
You need to get fucking into
Fire
it.
up a little bit, Now, I am not a receipt giver. I don't believe in it. I've never given someone a receipt. I've been rough with people, but safely. And I just don't like to be on the receiving end of that kind of thing, so I don't feel that I should be the person that dishes it out. I've also been in scenarios where people have gotten very angry after matches over something that's gone wrong or something that's happened in the ring, and they feel incumbent on themselves to be overly like aggressive and like angry and assertive at backstage after the fact on some sort of fucking moral high ground. It's just like, we make mistakes,
Yeah.
We're infallible.
You're all learning too.
We're all learning, and you're learning too. It's like, I will cop it on the chin if it's someone who's fucking earned their stripes in the biz. You know what I mean? And that's just the nature of the game. Sometimes you got to fucking cop it. But when it's people that are just not like at that level, and they just feel the entitlement to be able to fucking lambast people backstage because something's gone mildly wrong in a match, it's just like, I just have never taken that approach. Maybe one of the only times that I've gotten like super fired up and pissed off after a match was just when I was trying to articulate something that I felt had gone wrong, and everyone was just kind of not listening, and not taking accountability for their part. It's probably the one and only time I've gotten really pissed off with people, but I just don't really believe in that type of communication, and I'm not perfect. I can be short-tempered just in life sometimes. I don't know why, I don't know where it comes from, but I just try to like check that, especially now, at the age I'm at, with the amount of experience I have. I just don't think it's helpful, unfortunately. So yeah, receipts are an unfortunate thing. And like, again, I don't want to name names, but I've had like a barrage of strikes that are like receipts.
You must just have that face for it.
I think no. I know the exact reason why it happens.
Yeah.
And I apologized after.
Yeah.
But it was
Is it just roughness within like the match?
No, I'm talking like I didn't sell something the way that I was supposed to.
Okay.
And the
selling's a really important part of wrestling as well, isn't it?
I didn't sell something how I was supposed to, and the consequences to that was, all right, well, I will make you sell. And yeah, it was gnarly. You should have seen how I looked after.
Yeah, that's fucked. I guess
it happens, man.
Selling's like a really important part of wrestling. You have
everything.
And was that something that you had to work on as like a younger wrestler? Was that like one of your weaker points?
Well, there's selling physically, and then there's the psychology of selling. You know, so like selling physically is like in the actual moment when the thing's happening to you and how your actual body language and everything is. But then there's the psychology of selling is like why to sell what and when, and where in the match and all that kind of thing. Or else
it diminishes it, like the effect of it.
Correct.
And for people who don't know, selling is like when you receive a very devastating blow or something, you will sell it, you will make it look like it has had the desired effect.
Correct. If nobody kicks out of a move, then it doesn't matter what the move is. That move is the most devastating move. You know what I mean? Like you've got your most famous finishes of all time, your F5s, your RKOs,
What's your favorite? What's the greatest finisher of all time?
Well, in my opinion, it's the RKO because I think it's the most over finisher of all time.
Oh yeah, the RKO would have to be up there. Or the Stone Cold Stunner.
Or the Stone Cold Stunner. The cutters, it's a variation of a cutter.
What does this mean?
A cutter is like the action of what they do in that move.
Okay.
Yeah, so like there's the Diamond Dallas Page Diamond Cutter as well. Then there's the RKO. There's the Stone Cold Stunner. It's a move that the reason that I think it's so great is something we say in wrestling is you want to have a move set, or at least your signature move is something that you can give to everybody, because you're going to encounter people with different capabilities, people that are different shapes and sizes. The RKO you can give to absolutely anybody.
What about creative wise? Would you say like Rey Mysterio's
619?
619 would probably be
it's got to be in there
up there
for sure.
Swanton Bomb was probably so. Jeff Hardy was probably my favorite wrestler of all time.
Yeah,
I used to love.
He's lots of people's.
I actually surprisingly, a lot of people prefer Matt, which I just don't understand.
Yeah,
I can understand that Matt's it's Matt Hardy, isn't it? Matt and Jeff.
Yeah.
Jeff, there's those wrestlers that literally put their bodies on the line, and he would just emphasize that
100%.
every match.
For sure.
He intentionally would put his fucking physical being in extreme danger.
Yep.
Same as Mankind.
Yeah, they're real soldiers of the game, man, for sure.
Same, like were they like the best technical wrestlers? Probably not, but they were willing to do more shit than other wrestlers.
The whole technical wrestling argument is something that I always like to dispute, because there's a lot of people love to, in any realm, they always love to discuss like the GOATs or like the Mount Rushmore, who's the greatest of all time, who's this, who's that. When it comes to pro wrestling, you could be the greatest of all time because you were technically in the ring the greatest technician of all time. You could be the greatest of all time because you were the most over. You could be the greatest of all time because
I think it's the character and the lore.
That's what I'm saying.
I think like
there's so many things that go into it.
There's only like two people. Like you'd have to put Undertaker would have to be on everyone's.
Yes, but he's not. But he's not on everyone's.
But because he's not technically, he's probably not a great wrestler.
No, but the thing is like a lot of these guys are technically great wrestlers.
Yeah.
But the crowd are not coming in droves to see them do technical wrestling.
I don't even know the intricacies of technical wrestling.
Exactly.
I wouldn't know. I just know the lore.
You've got an idea of the lore of it, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if I say name a technical wrestler, name a technical wrestler for me now, just off the top of your head.
Well, I'd say who would I say? That's such a hard question.
It's like Bret Hart is considered like a technical wrestler. Kurt Angle.
Exactly. Eddie Guerrero was probably a pretty technical wrestler.
They're like your staple go-tos when people are trying to name like a technical wrestler. But then there's like William Regal, amazing technical wrestler. Bryan Danielson, Daniel Bryan, amazing technical wrestler. There's a lot of guys in Japan, the UK, that they're technical wrestlers.
I think I used to fall in love with characters. Like
Exactly.
I used to love Shawn Michaels. I love the fucking Generation X. I love that.
The thing is though,
lore
on a card, right? You have people that are going to come to see technical wrestling. So you're going to book a technical wrestler with a technical wrestler to have a technical wrestling match. But you're not going to book The Rock to have a technical wrestling match, even though The Rock probably could have a pretty sound technical wrestling match. And I've seen him do it. I've seen Hulk Hogan do it in Japan. You know what I mean? These guys can wrestle, but the audience do not want to see them have technical wrestling matches. They want to see them do the hits.
Yeah,
they want to see the fucking
Big
catchphrase.
moments.
They want to see the Rock take the elbow pad off and do the fucking people's elbow and the spit punch. That's what they want to see.
Yeah.
They want to see the Rock do headlocks. You know what I mean? Like,
when like even Stone Cold, when he come in and he just fucking nail like 16 beers after a
exactly.
match. Like,
that's what they want to see.
I remember once my heart broke so much because my brother, we were watching, I can't remember which match it was, but he like went off and he just fucking beer after beer after beer, and then they zoomed into one and it had fucking non-alcoholic written on it. And I was
it wasn't pissed.
No.
Yeah, I know. It takes you out of it. But like that's the thing, man, is like you remember how they made you feel. You don't remember exactly what happened, but you remember how they made you feel. And, you know, there are great technical wrestlers that are known for that who have also transcended that and become major personalities, and they've become, you know, incredible characters and all that sort of thing. And amongst all that, but it all comes down to how you make them feel.
I had this idea years ago. I messaged you like the tag team ages ago, and I think we got in contact a little bit, but then I didn't end up going through with it.
Yeah.
But I've always wanted to make a video, and I wanted the title be "Is Wrestling Fake?" And I wanted to go to just do a training session with someone and just go through a whole training session to see how it feels, because I know it will fucking hurt.
I can tell you, there is nothing fake about it. At all.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good title for a video.
I'm waiting to find out what's fake about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It fucking
as far as the wrestling goes, I'm still waiting to find out what's fake. And you know, you combine all of the other shit that goes into it in order to be, you know, physically equipped to be able to do the job. And it's a lot of work, man.
You got to put me in. You got to put me in with you.
Yeah.
For a video.
Let's do it.
We'll fucking do it.
Yeah, man, for sure.
We'll do it one day. It'll be fun. It reminds me of one of my favourite movies growing up. I don't know if you've seen. Not many people have seen this. It's called Ready to Rumble.
Oh, is that got Hulk Hogan in it, or it's got one of these wrestlers?
It has
in it, doesn't it?
heaps of ECW, WCW
that's
wrestlers.
right. Yeah. I've never actually seen it, but I know the one you're talking about.
So fucking funny. There's a scene in it where this dude's going off about how wrestling's fake, and these wrestlers just get him to come in and they fuck him
kick
up.
The shit out of him,
and then they're like, does that feel fake?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's so many crazy stories like that. Like supposedly Fit Finlay used to dislocate people's thumbs in bars, you know, when they would try to press him. And like there's this crazy, like, you know, legend in the business that, you know, before it became mainstream, you were expected as a pro wrestler to, if people knew you were a wrestler and you were out in public, if you're in a bar or in a gym or something, and somebody tried to, you know, say that it was fake or not take you seriously or challenge you to a fight and say that they could kick your ass, you're not legit, you were expected to make a fucking example of that person to protect the wrestling business, to protect the sanctity of the wrestling business, so that everybody that was there said, fucking hell, he kicked the shit out of that guy. You know what I mean? And there's some crazy stories, you know. Thankfully, we're not expected to do that anymore.
Yeah.
And, you know, you don't take offense to people making insinuations that it's a work, but there is also, it is a bit sensitive to a lot of wrestlers when you diminish what we do by using that word in like a derogatory way, saying that it's fake and everything like that, because so many guys have lost their lives. They've got life-changing injuries and they've dedicated
there's no one with more fucking damaged bodies than old professional wrestlers.
Exactly. It's horrible.
There's actually no one that has, besides maybe like a really old school boxer or something, but even like them, they just got brain damage.
Correct.
Like fucking wrestlers, just fingers are fucked, elbows are fucked, all that.
Their joints,
got no ACLs,
arthritis, bad knees, bad backs.
Just all those it's probably the bumps because that's
back surgeries, hip replacements. You know, people talk about Hulk Hogan not being like a wrestler, like he wasn't really like a physical wrestler. He had like 10 back surgeries, man, in his older age. You know,
I imagine it was very brutal back when he was doing it as well.
But what was his finishing move? The leg drop.
Yeah.
What's happening when you drop your body
straight on your spine?
You're compressing your spine. So he had a number of back surgeries, and he's not known as like a very physical wrestler. I mean, he put in miles. He was of the era where they were wrestling fucking 365 days a year. You know what I mean? Like people laugh at how Hulk Hogan would talk. I just used to find it very entertaining. You know, he'd say stuff like, you know, man, we were wrestling 400 days a year. You know what I mean? It's like, there isn't 400 days in a year. So, you know
and all of like your favorite shit talkers in the UFC all take inspiration from either Ric Flair or fucking Hulk Hogan or Macho Man Randy Savage. Yeah. Like Chael Sonnen was the first one
to do it.
First one. Mm-hmm. Chael nailed it. Yeah. He was and he took all of his inspiration from Ric Flair.
He was just a pro wrestling heel.
All of it.
Yeah, exactly. Conor the same, you know. I don't know, Ilia's kind of trying to do it now.
It doesn't translate
as well. It's a language barrier, unfortunately.
It's when you have the language, but like when comes on and he like tries to like, you can tell what he wants to say.
Of course, but he can't articulate it in English.
And it just ends up sounding a slightly corny because because he doesn't know how to say it.
Ilia.
But when they go out in the octagon,
that's the talking.
You understand everything they're fucking saying.
Yeah. What do you think Ilia's going to do? Because I keep seeing, like this week, people are talking about he's going to try to get a fight with Terence Crawford now.
Oh, no, Dana won't let him do that.
That's what I mean. Like
Terence Crawford will fucking kill him.
Yeah, it's kind of the same but not the same as far as like when Conor was going to go off to box Floyd. It's like Ilia's obviously in some respects trying to follow that blueprint in a lot of ways.
He wants to duck out really early.
Yeah.
He wants to fucking make his money and bail.
And that's fine.
I think he's going to do, I reckon he's going to do one more fight or two more fights at 155. And I really, really believe if Islam beats JDM, I think he's going to go for that third belt regardless of who wins that fight.
Well, it's just, if for nothing else, it's history. If he was able to pull it off,
he's probably the only person that could
do it. Yeah, for sure.
And I still don't like his chances at that weight because I think that weight class is massive, and I think JDM knocks him out.
Well, JDM's like, are you talking about JDM and Islam? You think he's going to knock out Islam?
I think he beats I don't know if he knocks Islam out, but I guarantee you he knocks Ilia out.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
because just of the size, Ilia's not. He's thick. But he's not a big man.
The thing is, though, is everyone's overlooking the fact that they're all talking about the idea of Ilia going up to welterweight at the idea that he fights Islam. And Islam hasn't even fought Jack yet. And he hasn't even fought him yet, let alone won the belt. Like, so it's like, that's where the money is. I think it's less about, in a lot of ways, it's less about Ilia fighting for a third title in another weight class and more about Ilia fighting Islam.
I think he wants the Dagestani head. He wants the scalp. He wants the scalp. It's such an impressive trophy.
It is.
Like, beating Islam is almost a better trophy than the 170 belt.
Correct.
Because it's just such an impressive scalp to add to your resume.
But then there's like, so the UFC media are just having a field day with it. It's like, he's got all these contenders at 55 that he seems to be, I don't want to use the word ducking, but he's almost dismissing.
He wants names.
I
think. And I think he hasn't deserved, I don't think he's owed them yet. I think he needs 1 to 2 more defenses at 155.
That's what I'm saying.
He needs to beat Sarukian. He needs to beat Sarukian.
That has to happen next.
That has to happen. I don't care.
Do you think it's going to happen?
It has to.
Yeah.
It will be such a disservice to MMA if they fucking do that.
Do you think they care at this point, though?
I don't know what happened with Sarukian. I don't know if something happened behind the scenes.
That's what you wonder, don't you? Because it can't just be, he can't just be copying what he's copying because he pulled out with a sore back.
No,
There's got to be more to the story.
Apparently he lied because apparently he didn't make weight.
Yeah, see, that was what Dana said. He kind of let it slip in the press conference, didn't he?
And I think he tried to. He's like, "Oh, my back," but realistically, he was off weight. So, and the UFC do fucking hate people ruining title fights. They hate it,
especially that one. That was a fucking big one.
But Sarukian is the only hard matchup for him.
Yeah, so
he bashes Pimblett. He fucking kills Pimblett, I feel.
Yeah, and he kills Justin Gaethje too, probably.
On his worst night.
That's what I'm saying.
On his worst night, he knocks Gaethje out.
So it's just like, do you even waste, like, what I sort of saw was you do him and Arman next, and presuming he wins that, because there's no guarantees that he'll win that. I think he would.
I think he does.
I think he does. But that's probably the hardest fight out there for him outside of Islam.
They're talking about giving fucking Holloway another shot at 154.
Which is just crazy, you know? But like, it's like he's in that BMF category now, sort of.
Let him have fun fights, make money.
There's no reason why he can't eventually match up for the world title again. But it's like, you do, because you want, the pro wrestler in me wants to see Paddy and Ilia.
For the storyline.
It's
excellent. The shit talk. They don't like each other.
I feel like it writes itself because
Arman and Paddy don't like each other either.
Correct. So if you could do Ilia and Arman, and Ilia just completely legitimizes himself as the 55 champion by, there's some question marks on him becoming the undisputed champ from beating Oliveira, although it was so devastating and Oliveira's, top of the fucking food chain at that weight class.
He's in my top 3 of all time.
100%,
I love it. But
100%. But the circumstances around it, there are some question marks on that win as like him being the undisputed fucking lightweight champion. So
he needs to beat Arman, and then I don't care if they rush Paddy to the belt straight after that.
Well, what I think would make it even better, and this is just a perfect world, but we love to talk in hypotheticals when we're talking about this shit, is Paddy fights Justin Gaethje or Max Holloway or Dan Hooker and gets a fucking decisive victory over someone like that.
Number 1 contender fight.
Now you're the fucking proper number 1 contender. You know what I mean? And then Ilia legitimizes himself as the fucking top lightweight in the world by beating Arman.
And then go have your fun fight.
And then you fucking do it. Yeah. And then you get that out of the way, because I feel like we can all sit here and just and happily say that from what Paddy's shown so far, he does not beat Parea.
Oh no.
You know what I mean?
I have many clips. I have a few clips that went viral because I was maybe a little bit too harsh towards my opinion on Paddy Pimblett.
Sure.
But he has done a U-turn on me in the last couple fights. I'm like, okay, you actually deserve to be here.
Well, he's legit. He's fucking legit. Don't get me wrong.
The Jared Gordon fight that he kind of lost, but then he went on about it.
He was a fuckwit after it.
Yeah, he was a fuckwit after. It just fucking pissed. I don't know why.
I kind of like that though. You know what I mean? Because
he played into the heel.
Because he was sort of just like, all right, well, I'm kind of caught between a rock and a hard place here. It's like the purists want me to be humble, but like, fuck being humble.
But he came back with it nicely. But see, then you got like people like Colby Covington who played too hard into the hill.
Yeah,
and
it's
now
true.
No one gives a fuck about him anymore.
He's also not legitimized himself as a fighter either.
You can't keep losing and doing that.
Correct.
You have to be a winner if you're going to be a fucking heel.
For sure.
Which
is kind of the only one that I think gets away with that. And not that I sadly don't think he'll ever fight again, but the only one
Jones.
The only one that really got away with that was Conor. That Conor could lose and it didn't matter.
He could lose 50 times.
That's what I'm saying.
It's the same as Chael Sonnen.
Exactly.
He could lose 100 times in a row.
Yeah.
But the ultimate heel of all time is Jon Jones.
Of course.
He tries to be a fucking babyface.
Exactly. But we all know
he's a heel.
Yeah, he's a fucking heel. You can't be the most dominant fucking fighter of all time and be a babyface.
But
this not how it works.
This is what some people don't understand. I don't know why they're fucking surprised about his antics. He thrives in just fucking chaos. That's when he does his best work. When you take away, like you were saying, you get an adrenaline rush in front of 400 people. Imagine fighting in front of fucking 10 million. 10 million are watching you, and you know everyone wants to watch you lose, and you're on cocaine 3 nights before.
Fucked.
And you just walk out and you're a god. You're just a god.
Yeah, and that's the word there, is a lot of these guys have
you're a god.
A god complex.
That's what they think they are.
You know what I mean?
Like Mike Tyson has a famous quote of, I can't remember it word for word, but it's him relaying his process of walking out to the cage. He's like, I've got all these shackles on me, and then as I walk close to the cage, they fall off. And then when I step in the ring, I'm a fucking god.
Insane.
It's like, but it's...
How poetic.
It's like, you can see it. Yeah. Like, he won the fight before he even fucking started the fight half the time. But people are looking on the floor.
Speaking of Mike Tyson, though, in that respect, another thing that he said, which I thought is very relevant to, I guess, what we're discussing right now, is like he said to Francis Ngannou, like, you know, at the same time that God favors you, so does the devil. Mm-mm. And that's what you need to remember when you're looking at guys like Conor, guys like Jon Jones.
Mike Tyson hasn't done too bad, considering he came from the worst place. Literally, where he grew up was worse than fucking hell, probably.
Horrible stories.
Like, the worst, like rapings, murders, like just drug dealing. He was a small little runt, so everyone used to pick on him, and he'd get...
Fighting in the streets as a kid and
then
all that kind
he
of thing
walks
as well.
into this fucking Customato's gym like a fucking by God's grace, and he finds this old man, the one only person who fucking believes in him. Yeah. Like, that is... If that gives me goosebumps just talking, and I think Jamie Foxx is playing him in a movie.
Yeah, I feel like that's been going on for a while. Is that happening? Is that in production or what? Like, what are they doing with that?
I don't know if I'm making it up or not, but I really feel like Jamie Foxx got violently ill recently.
Oh, okay.
Like a few years ago. I don't know if it delayed production, but he would be the perfect Mike Tyson.
For sure. He does a great impression of him too.
He does a great impression of everyone.
It's so much more like doing a biopic. I've heard a lot of actors talk about it, because I had a phase where I was pretty fascinated by just the idea of a biopic. And, you know, you often see actors that portray real life figures. When they do it well, they usually win the Oscar for it, and it's always greatly celebrated and all that kind of thing. But I remember when Rami Malek played Freddie Mercury in the Queen movie.
I haven't seen it, but apparently he plays him fucking
incredible. But he was saying in interviews about it that you're not doing an impersonation. You need to embody that character.
You need to really method act it. You need to be them.
And he went and took movement classes so that he could try and learn how to embody the movements. Not just impersonate the way they move, but actually be able to embody it and figure out why they move like that. The psychology behind what makes them walk and talk and gesture the way that they do. There's a lot of complexity to it. It isn't just as straightforward as doing an impression.
Do you know what's an excellent example of that? And I just rewatched it. For some reason, they release movies on YouTube now.
Yeah, it's
because
wild.
I pay for YouTube Premium. I think it's just an access I get, and I haven't seen Chopper in ages.
Oh yeah, Eric Bana.
Chopper came up with Eric Bana.
Yeah,
man, he fucking plays that so well.
Well, he went and hung out with Chopper to prepare for that.
He nailed it.
He hung out with him and he talked to him on the phone and all that kind of thing.
It's not a biopic, but another good one is when Johnny Depp played George Young in this movie called Blow.
Yep, Blow.
That's
crazy.
Fucking excellent.
Yeah.
There's so many.
Well, he's playing a real figure in history. He's not necessarily trying to. A lot of those circumstances
they're dramatized
and they're doing their own version of that person, you know. But then there are ones where you want to try to recreate that character.
Have you seen Ray?
With
Jamie Foxx.
Yeah.
That's
where he played Ray Charles.
I haven't cried in fucking many movies, but that was one that got me.
That's another one. He won the Academy Award for that.
He deserved it.
He fucking killed it.
That was fucking insane. I think he learned how to play the piano.
He did. Yeah, he did a lot of things and play it blind.
Oh,
you know what I mean? So it's like, what are we talking about here? Like, this is that's next level shit.
Do you seem like you're into like theater and movies?
Yeah,
and
definitely.
Did that part of wrestling really fucking resonate with you almost more than the athleticism of it?
Probably. I actually studied to be an actor too. So once I began my wrestling journey, I was actually on a gap year from high school. I was one of the few people in those days that took a gap year. I feel like it's becoming more common nowadays.
Oh yeah. Just take a gap and never go back.
Well, yeah, there's that too. And there's obviously just like a formula that a lot of people follow. It's like you finish high school, you do a trade, or you go to uni. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's just kind of the stereotype. But
it's good to have a year off to kind of figure out what you actually want to do in life.
Yeah, well, I wanted to travel. And I did. So that first year that I was on my gap year, I went traveling for 3 months. And
so important for young kids to do.
Traveled around Europe for 3 months and I started wrestling all in that same year. So when I was nearing the end of that gap year, I was at a little bit of a crossroads and I was like, well, I know I want to pursue this wrestling thing, but I'm still very early days in my training. And one thing that I was always equally as passionate about was acting in general. Obviously, there's varying different mediums of acting, but I found out about this. It was technically a TAFE course, but it was the only reason I specify that is as far as like the qualifications that you get at the end of it. So it was a diploma. It was an advanced diploma, not a degree. And the Adelaide College of the Arts had a course at the time called an Advanced Diploma of Acting. And it was a 3-year course with full-time contact hours. So I'm talking like 9 a.m. till 6 p.m. Monday to Friday, right? You're there in that college all day, right? And they do auditions at the end of every year. 2015 was a good year for me as far as like tryouts and auditions and stuff. For some reason, I was just chosen basically, right? So I did this audition for this acting diploma and there was probably hundreds of kids that auditioned. I remember the first day I was there was a lot of kids there, right? And I had to prepare 2 auditions. I had to prepare 1 classical piece and 1 Shakespeare piece, right? And I really, to the best of my ability and with a little bit of assistance from some acting teachers from high school, I prepared for this because I wanted to get into this course. I just thought it makes sense. I'm doing the right thing. I'm going to study, but I'm studying acting and I'm also going to be a wrestler. So all these things go hand in hand together. So I did the first day of auditions and then I got a call back a week later. So I had a week to work on my Shakespeare piece, which was what they wanted to see more from. And I came back and I did my callback and I nailed it. I took all the feedback they gave me. I recognized then that they wanted to see if I was coachable, not necessarily if I was an amazing actor or not. So I knew that was what I was told by people who were mentoring me. They just want to know that you're coachable. And I got a call a week after that and they invited me to be in the course. So there's only 12 of us in the class and out of however many hundreds that audition every year to try to get in. And I auditioned on my first go and I got accepted, which was crazy. So at the start of 2016, at the start of the semester, uni semester year, I started in this theatre course full time, and I'd be in doing movement class, voice class, singing class, 4-hour acting classes in the afternoon, theory classes. We would have specialists who work on different types of theatre, different types of film come in the afternoons and do classes with us. Then at 6 p.m. every night, I'd either go to the gym or I'd go to wrestling training or I'd go to work at my job. Every night was different. Yeah. So I'd be trying to train 3 to 4 times a week in the gym. I'd be trying to go to 2, sometimes maybe 3 wrestling trainings. So I'd be like loading up my weekends with gym, wrestling, work, trying to make all this shit work. And after a while, I realized I was spreading myself way too thin. And because I'm only like 19 at the time, 20, I'm not understanding that you can't get something out of one particular thing if you're just trying to do it all at once.
Yeah.
And so the people in that theatre course made that decision for me because I think they could see that I was more passionate about wrestling and doing things my way. And they actually asked me to leave at the end of the first semester. So I only lasted 1 semester in this course that, man, people would kill to get into. People have practiced for years. They've done 2, 3, 4 auditions every single year to try to get a spot in this course. And I got kicked out after 1 semester because I wanted to fucking wrestle. Yeah. So you can never question my passion and my dedication to wrestling. I've sacrificed so many things for it. But through the years, I've gone and done some film courses just to sharpen my acting tools. I listen to a lot of actors and directors and filmmakers talk about just the art of filmmaking and theatre and all that sort of thing. And I can definitely see myself doing that at some stage once I feel that I've solidified the platform that I want to in pro wrestling. But yeah, I'm a true believer. I realized sometime around 2021, 2022 that you have to just lock in on one thing. And if you go back through, you know, my social media and look through my history, it was around 2022 where I feel like I started to figure out who I was as a performer. And you see my body change. I figured out how to get in shape. I figured out how to put the pieces together as an in-ring performer and as a character. That was when the promo content really started to find its feet. and it's just sent me on the trajectory that I'm on now.
Who would you say is the best on mic wrestler of all time?
Okay, I'm going to throw a massive curveball at you, all right? Because you're not going to...
I was thinking you were just going to say The Rock.
Okay, so I think that the best promo of all time, right, is Vince McMahon.
It's fucking hard to argue that.
Yeah.
It's hard, separate the fucking art from the artist with that one.
Correct.
But
yes,
people that's such a good one.
Yeah.
Because no one would say that.
Yeah.
But when you think about it, Vince is so good at cutting a promo.
Yes. And without Vince, you don't... Forget behind the scenes. I'm talking on screen. The Mr. McMahon character is responsible for Stone Cold Steve Austin. It's responsible for The Rock. It's heavily influential on the success of those characters. So I always say Vince McMahon. And I actually watch a lot of his promos to get inspiration, because it's not just his delivery. He understood what it was they were trying to do there, because he's the fucking promoter. Do you know what I mean? So just watching him pace himself and watching his subject matter and the way that he delivers everything, it's masterful. It truly is.
Do you have like a really honest... Do you have to sit down and have like honest conversations with yourself of, okay, what are my goals and how realistic are they? Like, do you truly in your heart believe that you will be on the WWE stage one day?
Yes, 100%. I've always believed that I will be. I've come so close. You know what I mean? I've had one WWE tryout before. It was at the start of 2024, and it was an unbelievable experience. And I wanted to show, like I mentioned earlier, how truly coachable I am, because that's what it comes down to at the end of the day. You need to show that you are going to be able to deliver when they need you to. You know what I mean? And it's one thing to be one of these generational, undeniable talents like a Rhea Ripley or like a Brock Lesnar or, or a Kurt Angle, these generational talents that obviously they have to work hard at their craft, but you can't create what they are.
No, it's divine intervention. When you get to certain levels, it's fucking or whatever you want to call it, destiny.
I know that I'm not that. I know that. I'm a battler.
But you can play a fucking good part in it.
I had a conversation with my original coach, one of my original coaches, mentors, wrestled him more times than I can count, and he's, I consider him a mentor still to this day, is Chris Basso. He's a wrestler from the legendary wrestler in the Australian indie scene, and he's one of the founders of Riot City Wrestling.
Yeah. And
when I first came back from America, we had a conversation, and he said, like, you and I are battlers, that's what we're always going to be, and I really resonated with that, because nothing's come easy to me in this game. Nothing. I have my strengths that come naturally, but that doesn't mean that they come easily. I still have to fucking work at them. And so one thing that I've always been really diligent at is making sure I put myself in a scenario where I can learn all the best stuff that I need to learn. I went to train at the Storm Wrestling Academy in 2017 with Lance Storm. I did his 12-week camp, and it was a fucking amazing experience. And I was 21 at the time, so I probably wasn't able to absorb everything at the level I probably could now. But I still have communication with Lance. We still talk, and I actually caught up with him at TNA when I was in America in February, and we had a really good conversation. I've been mentored by guys in Australia. Rocky Monero is one of them, who has a similar approach that I do as far as like our mindset towards the game and our mindset towards storytelling. And he's helped mentor me in a way that I can sharpen my strengths. You know what I mean? And then when it comes to weaknesses, a lot of time spent with Buddy on in-ring and on psychology and on presentation and just learning about the business in general. I've learned so much from him, and obviously so much from Rhea as well. So I've always put myself in scenarios where I have good mentors and I can learn. And then obviously, like I mentioned earlier, I got to go train at the dungeon with TJ and Natty, and I learned heaps from those guys too.
Yeah.
And I just really improved my gas tank and found new strategies to improve my gas tank as well. And they taught me a bunch of new concepts that I hadn't been introduced to before, that I feel confident, applying now in matches. Yeah. But I am a good learner. And I'm good at applying myself to what I need to do. I work quietly on my weaknesses, and I try very hard to identify them, but I also work equally as hard on my strengths, and I put my strengths on full display so that I can showcase what I'm capable of. And I've always believed, and I believe full well, that I could go to the top of this business. I could be on the main roster in WWE. I think I'm capable of being a good ambassador for the company and being able to speak elegantly and articulately and intelligently about the product and the brands to just about anybody. And I think I could operate at a main event level. If you don't think that, and I don't know what you're doing in the industry, you know, you have to believe in yourself, and you have to think like a top guy. And I've always visualized myself in my own head as a top guy. So I will continue to pursue that to the best of my ability.
And for the fans, before we cut this off, what can fans expect from the new iteration of you, Ilia?
Just the realest, rawest, uncensored and unfiltered version of me. That's what you can expect in all forms, in the ring, through social media, on the microphone, in mediums like this where we're just having a conversation back and forth with one another. You're just going to get the real me. I don't want to hide who I am anymore. I don't want to pretend to be something that I'm not. And I just want to give the most authentic version of myself. So come along for that ride. It's going to be fucking awesome. I'm only just getting started, and I plan on going all the way to the top, all the way to WrestleMania.
And do you have any events booked? Is there anywhere that people can see you in the future?
Yeah, so you'll see me. I'll make my way back to Riot City Wrestling for sure. You'll see me in Melbourne City Wrestling. They've got some events coming up. I'll be in Perth for when WWE are down, so keep your eyes out for me there. And I'm also still currently reigning, defending, undisputed World Series Wrestling Tag Team Champion. So that belt is hoisted high on my mantelpiece at home, something I'm very proud of. And you will see me appear on World Series Wrestling in the future also. And just keep your eyes on Ilia on Instagram, because I'm going to be bringing you the truth. I'm going to be bringing you the prophecies, and I'm going to be bringing you the realest, rawest, roughest shit that you can fucking find out there. So stay tuned.
You're a fucking legend, man. Thank you for coming on.
Thanks,
Thank
man.
you so
Appreciate
much.
You. Had a great time.
Thank you.